Okay, good night, Marcia, the loyal opposition. On returning home today from praying fast, I would have heard that Alvin had passed away. Even though I would have heard that he had had a stroke and he was ill, honestly, I saw recovery. I felt recovery. So when I heard that he passed away, it really hit me hard because Alvin was my cousin. His that would be his great grandfather and my great grandfather were two brothers. So that it wasn't just a case of some person seeking to represent St. Lucie. This was, as what people say, flesh and blood. Um, I never really knew him because he would have grown up in St. Peter. His father was Alan Topping. But when I heard, that where he originated, and I sought to investigate to find out that he was my cousin. The first time I met him, it was really a shock because in January of this year, when there was the Ideas Forum at the Daryl Jordan Secondary School, he was present. And I said, this man is bull because here was a meeting of, to a large extent, BLP faithfuls. Here was a young man willing to attend. He did not speak. I can't remember him speaking that night, but when we had the motorcade in St. Lucie with the water situation, he was one of the leading persons in respect of the distribution of water. Even before the motorcade, there was another occasion where he was spearheaded the distribution of water. But then when we had our town hall meeting at the St. Lucie Parish Church, he attended. He was very much involved with the what is happening at this Allendale pumping station, and he did attend the town hall meeting, and he spoke on behalf of the residents of St. Lucie, so that um, his loss is not just a loss to us as a family, but I believe it's a loss for us in St. Lucie. Um, Even though he was not a sitting member of parliament, he represented the people of St. Lucie in different areas, so that to his immediate family, I would want to offer, um, my condolences. His dad has passed, but his mom is still alive, and therefore, I would want to join with you and all of the others, not only recognizing him, but all those names that were mentioned previously, because we are the one that God has called for such a time as this to speak for our nation, Barbados. Okay, so I want to thank all for your condolences. Tonight, I'm going to be dealing with national insurance and back again, dealing with national insurance. And Marcia, I really want to thank you for these opportunities to share. Only last night, I spoke for the Youth Entrepreneur Scheme, the YES program, the present cohort. I spoke for 3 hours 3 hours from 5 till 8 last night. So it's something that I am very much used to, and I am always grateful to share on national insurance. Tonight, I want to share in respect of pensions. I would have dealt with basically all of the other benefits, but I wanted to speak tonight on pensions. And the theme at national insurance is more than a contribution, it's your lifeline. And I know that there are those who are listening might say that it's not a lifeline for them because when they are at their most vulnerable state, very often, sometimes the benefits do not come to them in a timely manner. And I'm not making an excuse for national insurance, but it is one of the heaviest departments in Barbados because it has a staff complement of about just over 300. So when you are collecting, the kind of millions every month, paying over 40,000 benefits, pensioners, sorry, managing a fund of 4 point something billion, and then collecting approximately 5,000 new claims every month, that's a tremendous responsibility. But But National Insurance has served its pensioners very faithfully through the years. Now, recently you would have heard that National Insurance is paying all pensions. That is not the correct truth. And I want to start by saying this because there are there is the impression that for National Insurance, for those persons, sorry, who are pensioners with the Treasury Department, their pension is paid out from National Insurance, but everything is still done at the Treasury Department. National Insurance only deals with the processing of the payment, as it were, either, well, not a check because they're not paid by checks, lodgements to the bank account. So that I would want persons to know that once you are a pensioner with the Treasury Department, it's your responsibility to apply for your pension at the National Insurance Department no more than 6 months before. So approximately say 4 months before, it's your responsibility to apply to National Insurance for your pension, because there's the impression that because all are being paid by National Insurance, is an automatic conversion from the Treasury to National Insurance. Is further from the truth. So many individuals on reaching 67, when the Treasury will stop your pension, your pension will be stopped at age 67, then those persons now have to come to apply at National Insurance, which is going to take about maybe 3 months before they can get their first payment, so that they're without an income for those 3 months or more in some cases. So that National Insurance is separate and distinct from the Treasury when it comes to pensions for public workers across the whole of the public service. Now, when it comes to National Insurance pensions, then it means that in order to qualify for any form of a National Insurance pension, contributory pension, we'll start with contributory pension, it means that you might have had to have worked at least for 1 year. 1 year to receive an old age pension grant. 1 year, 50 contributions, 52 weeks in a year, but 50 contributions to receive a grant. That grant is a one-off payment, and therefore, if you do not qualify, if those are all the contributions you have between age 16 and 67 at present, it means that you will get a grant. You must have at least 150 contributions, but a combination of 150 contributions and credits, totaling 500 to receive a National Insurance old age contributory pension. And you would want to ask, what are the credits about? Now, once a person receives a benefit, sickness, unemployment, injury, maternity, those types of benefits, Monday to Saturday, you are given a credit, which means that if the average weekly salary for the calculation of that benefit, that sickness benefit, is say $400, you are given a credit. So credits are added to contributions. So there's a myth out there that if you take a lot of sick leave, it will reduce your pension. That is not true, because once you receive sickness benefit or those other benefits and you are given credits, it's added to the contributions that you would have made, and therefore your pension is calculated then on a combination of credits, contributions, and credits. But as I said, if you have less than 500 at present, because the whole thing has changed. Sorry, no, we are at 530 now, 560. Sorry, because the legislation changed last year, from the beginning of this year, and therefore from 2025, you have to have 560 contributions and credits to qualify for a pension. It is moved from 500, and it will be changing again in 2026 to 590, in 2027 620, in 2028 650, 2029 680, 2030 710, 2031 750, and it will continue from there on at 700 650 contributions. So in other words, rather than qualifying for a pension having at least about 10 years contributions, you need 15 years contributions to qualify for a pension at 2031. And personally, I do not have a problem with that, because when a person only has 10 years contributions and that person receives a pension at age say age 67, and the person lives to say age 90, they would have withdrawn tremendously more than they ever put in. And because we have a falling birth rate and an aging population, it means that there will be serious challenges on the scheme. So to have paid contributions only for 15 years between age 16 and 67 or 68 eventually, I think is relatively reasonable. And that's my personal opinion. Now, so once you have reached age 61, because again, we have changed the early pension.
Mr. Strickland,
Go
someone
ahead.
is asking if you can just repeat what you just said there.
Okay, no
Okay,
problem.
yes, just slow it down. Thank you a
Okay.
little bit.
Okay, all right. Now, so that we were at 500 contributions in 2020 in 2023. From 2024, you need 530, 2025 560, and this is the last slide that I would have, this last set of information that I would have sent to you, Marcia. The figures are on that one. So that in 2026, 590, 2027, 620, 2028, 650, 2029, 680, 2030, 710, 2031, 750. And it should remain at 750 unless the political directorate at that time or any other time chooses to change the number of contributions necessary for a person to qualify for a national insurance old age contributory pension. Now, while I'm speaking on that matter, we have a reciprocal agreement between Canada, Quebec, United Kingdom, and CARICOM, so that you have individuals like a number of the I don't want to say non-nationalists, those who would have worked in Guyana, Jamaica, in Canada, picking fruits and so forth in the past, and so forth. Those Barbadians who would have lived in England and returned home. If the person worked in Barbados for less than the number of contributions that I just quoted, but they worked in one of those jurisdictions, then they would indicate their social security number in the country that they also work in. National insurance would obtain the number of contributions that they would have had in those countries. And therefore, when the two are added, once they meet the requirement for Barbados, National Insurance Barbados will pay the pension based on the contributions that they would have had in Barbados. And therefore, they would also receive a pension from the other country that they would have had contributions in also. So while, as I would have indicated, that you need at least 560 at this present moment, they might not have 560 in Barbados, but they might have had some in one of those other countries, that being Canada, Quebec, United Kingdom, not United States, United Kingdom, England, and CARICOM. And that's for the purpose of an old age pension. For the other benefits, there is no reciprocal agreement with sickness and those other benefits. Only old age contributory pension. So that a person then receiving, applying for your pension, you will submit your original birth certificate or valid passport. In the case of a woman who's married, birth certificate and a marriage certificate. If the person is divorced, birth certificate, marriage certificate, and decree absolute. As I said, no, national insurance pensions can be paid either still in checks. They can be lodged to a commercial bank or a credit union. In that case, they would need to either submit the header of a bank statement, or they would need to take a direct deposit form or the application form to the bank or credit union to be stamped and initialed, so that when national insurance they are confirming that the account number which was sent in is correct with the name, because they're those persons who attempt to have pensioners pension sent to their own account, and it's not a joint account. So that if that, which when it happened in the past, what the bank would do is to send the money back to national insurance. So at present, national will not send any monies to any bank account or credit union unless there is verification that the number given is that the person's name is on that bank account. As I said, they are paid in checks. They are those persons who say that nationals no longer pay in checks. The Postman of Barbados can verify that. But there has been a move through the years to have all pensioners, all pensions paid to a bank account. I personally will fight against that because it opens the pensioners of Barbados to more elder abuse, financial elder abuse. And you can never imagine what I know is possible. So that, but also if you are, you can have your pension sent overseas. So if you're a resident overseas, you can have your pension sent overseas. It will be a case where you will need to provide the name of the bank, the address of the bank, your account number, your SWIFT code. Nationals will direct you how to what information which is necessary, but you can have your money sent by wire to your account overseas in any part of the world. Okay, now, so for old age contributory pensions, as I said, okay, let me go over to invalidity. There are those persons who are in receipt of an invalidity pension. When they reach pensionable age, they do not have to apply for an old age contributory pension. The pension will automatically convert from invalidity to old age contributory pension. The same amount. Okay. Now, but what would happen is that on their 67th birthday, the invalidity will stop. And in that pay period, you may receive less than what you were receiving because it's transitioning from invalidity to old age contributory. But what you did not get within one pension period will be added to the next pension period. So it's just a matter of weeks that your income for your pension may be reduced at that present moment, but it will continue from there on at the same rate for until death. Okay, so that's the old age contributory pension. Now, there are persons who the legislation permits for persons to apply for, I must say apply for, not qualify in the first case. Any person can apply for an old age, early old age pension. Previous, the age was 60. That age has no change. And you can go back to the last slide that I would have sent you were looking at just now. And I'm going to be giving you the early pension dates, so that in 2025, you can only qualify, if you do qualify for early pension at age 61. So it'll be 61 for 2025, 2026, and 2027. In 2028, it will be going to age 62 and remain at 62 for 2028, 29, and 30. In 31, it will go to 63 and it will remain at 63 until another decision is made, if another decision will be made. So at present, the earliest that you can apply for a pension for early pension is at age 61. The reason why I said you can apply if the reduced pension, because while the reduced pension was at 6% per year, the early pension date has not only gone up from 60 to 61, but the percentage loss has also gone up. So that for 2025, your reduction is now 8%. So last year it was 7%. This year it is 8%. And in 2026, 2026, it will be going to 99%, and it will remain there. So that if when you apply for your early pension and the amount that you qualify to receive is less than $254 per week, then you cannot get early pension. So that I remember I went back to work from retirement in 2020, and there were a number of individuals who would have been laid off at 60 plus, who were having difficulty receiving another job. A number of them sought to apply or to call in to find out if they would qualify for an early pension, expecting that they would be told yes, to find out that based on the contributions that they had, the amount that they would have qualified for was less than the minimum contributory pension. And so because the minimum contributory pension is $254 at this present moment, and normally the minimum pension goes up every January, so it makes it increasingly more difficult for persons to qualify for an early pension. And I'm certain that there are those who are listening right now who are very, very, very annoyed because they moved from 65 to 67, and now they've moved from 67 to 68. So that the pensionable age, as I said, has moved also. And I'm going to give you that at present, the pensionable age is 67. In 2028, pensionable age will be 67 and a half. And then it will change again in 2034 to 68. So I am not the bearer of good news tonight for a number of individuals, but that is the reality of the changes. So that I know that the PowerPoint is a bit fine, but I would hope that persons and it's not on the National Insurance website. I was able to obtain these from the marketing officer so that I can have it presented here. But there are those changes that were made. I think it was from last year, and they took effect from the 1st of January 2024. So that is the early national insurance pension, and I would have just dealt with the pension at age 67 at present. As I said, it's not changing again until 2028 to 67 and 6 months. 67 and 6 months, and then in 2034 it'll be going to 68, and it should there remain. Marcia, I would have said it to many individuals prior to this government that national pension will never move from 65. The decision that was taken to write off $1.3 billion of the National Insurance Fund, that pushed the National Insurance Scheme in the state that it's in. Yes, we always had a falling birth rate and a Asian population, but that decision, not only that decision, in 2018, and I'm going to be blunt and straight, in 2018, when 2018 during campaigning, the promise that was made to non-contributory pensioners, the kind of raise that they were offered, it was obvious that contributory pensioners would have to get a similar increase. So because of the increase that was given in 2018, and I'm glad for the pensioners, but also when they wrote off $1.3 billion of National Insurance Fund and so forth, then it meant that in order to sustain the National Insurance Department, these changes had to be done. In 2006, there was pension reform, and all things was on track to make sure that national pensions never had to be affected, had to be adjusted. But in 2022, when the actual report came out, based on what was done, it meant that these adjustments had to be made. This is not a partisan political statement. It's a reality. Okay, it's a reality. And unless the present board, because the board is constituted along ILO standards, which means that the board is responsible for these things. Prior to the 1st of December 2023, when national insurance was, the board did not have total control of the national insurance department. Now the board has total control of the National Insurance Department. And therefore, basically, they're free to do as they please with the funds, even though both trade unions sit on the board and should be the person in the vanguard in defending, especially the pensions of Barbados. And we would pray that this does not happen. Now, that being the case in respect of the contributory pensioners, I'm going to go to the non-contributory
Now,
pensioners.
now I'm going to I talk big about giving you time. So we I can literally only give you another 5 minutes. But as you know we're gonna come back and finish up, right? So if you
Yes.
hang on at the end there, and plus we will come back another time, all right?
Okay.
But
I'm going to
so
give you the non-contributory pension quickly
five
in five
minutes.
minutes.
Yes,
Five
sir.
minutes, I can give you a lot of the. Okay. Now, so that non-contributory pension is not an automatic right as a Barbadian citizen. It's not an automatic right because once you were gainfully employed and chose not to pay contributions as a self-employed person, all persons of all applications for non-contributory pension, there is an interview process. And therefore, if you have been gainfully employed and you did not pay national insurance contributions, initially the department will disallow, will not approve your claim. It will be sent to the board, and 99% of the time it will come back from the board, your claim being disallowed. That's the first thing. Now, second, all citizens of Barbados and permanent residents can apply to national insurance for a non-contributory pension. If you're in receipt of a pension from another source, those persons who are returning nationals and are persons who would not have worked in Barbados up to age 40 and is there in the legislation, then it means that if those persons are in receipt of a pension from another country, they cannot receive non-contributory pension. And this was the case, so you can get a contributory and non-contributory. So if you don't qualify for the contributor, you can apply for the non-contributory. But if you are receipt of a pension from another source, then you cannot receive a non-contributory pension. And so on your application, if you say that you're gonna have to bring your passport and all canceled passports, which means that if you say you're not receiving a pension from another country, nationals will still rate that country to find out if you are entitled to a pension, and therefore you will not receive a pension if you are in receipt or if you are entitled to one. Okay. Now, for non-contributory pensions, as I said, is for permanent and for citizens and permanent residents. Okay.
Yeah.
The non-contributory pension at present is $230 per week, and you can apply for your non-contributory pension again no more than 6 months before. Ideally, 4 months before, so that you would have had your interview done and you would have a good idea of whether you will qualify or not. Okay, so that's the non-contributory pension in a nutshell.
In a nutshell.
There's still some other information that I will seek to share in the question session at the end, and for all the other questions that persons would want that would have posed in the chat, I'm certain that you would list them so that I'll be able to address them as quickly as possible.
Yes, sir. Well, again, I always heard about the 67, but I didn't realize in 2035 it's now 68. And I didn't realize it's 67 and a half. So I learned something tonight. And I'm sure Mr. Franklin was saying it, but it didn't stick until I saw it there. Sometimes it has to be repeated. You did a fantastic job, I tell you. And I'm hoping people did screenshots. Please hang around, Mr. Strickland, as usual. And by God's willing, you know what? He will continue next week because we don't want to rush it. He'll continue it next week. Review and then continue. So thank you. Very educational. That's what we do on the Marcia Week Show. Thank you so much, Mr. Strickland. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank
I
you
just
very
have
much.
you wait
Okay.
in the green room. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thanks.